Start to let our breath flow deep and full. Take this moment to scan through your system. So perhaps with a good inhale, scan from the toes up to the head. With a nice exhale, scan from the head down to the toes. Just enjoying a couple of really good deep breaths flowing in and out like this. Like we're giving the system a cleanse. We're tuning in, checking in with how it all feels. And then we're going to tune into the very low body. So this is any of these areas we would consider to be our roots, but especially feet, ankles, knees. We'll also include a little bit of hips, hamstrings, low back, all of those goodies that are also considered our roots, but especially tuning into the very, very low part of our roots. We don't always focus on feet, for instance, in a yoga class. So today will be a day where we'll get lots of opportunities to get those feet not only strengthened, but also stretched in really, really nice ways. So with roots being our intention today, imagine if you could think of some type of root system that your legs feel like at this moment. There's all sorts of different types of roots. There's small little roots like of flowers. There's ginormous root systems like trees. There's sometimes root systems that you can see little bits of. Sometimes you can see fun winding around tree roots. And sometimes there's root systems that don't go very deep. Sometimes when I've gone on hikes, I've seen trees that their roots were so shallow that when a huge amount of water came by, the whole tree just kind of toppled over and you could see such shallow root system just kind of pick up and tip over. So there's all sorts of different roots. Just tune into how they feel in your body right now. And our intention as we move through focusing on these areas is to imagine that our root system is able to grow, expand, just feel better. So that's the thought that will lead us into our practice today, just helping our roots as we go on. So with that focus to lead us onward, let's begin. We'll start to take the knees into the chest. As we take gentle rocking movements, especially let the ankles and the feet have some mobility. Giving that first little bit of movement to those areas. Maybe there's good little crackles and pops that are starting to work their way out of our feet. Beautiful. So the hips come back to stillness. Slide the right leg nice and long to the ground. Let's have both hands hug around this right knee. Pull that right knee into the shoulder. And give that right foot a couple of bonus little circles here. Whenever you do one clockwise, take the next one counterclockwise. And see what range of motion the big toe can circle around. Good. From here, let's start to straighten right leg up to sky. Work into the hamstring for a moment. Hands clasp around that leg. Try to pull it in. A couple of rounds, pointing the toes as high up as they can point. And then flexing the foot back to the face. So a couple rounds like that. Point and flex. Point and flex. One more cycle. And start to let that right knee bend out to the right, like you're going to happy baby. But before we get to that actual pose, take a moment for both hands to try to grab onto that right foot. And what we're going to do is give the entire surface area of that right foot a squeeze. So kind of increasing circulation for a moment. So squeeze briefly through each of the toes. And then big squeezes to get through all of the foot. Continue to squeeze as we work our way down the arch, down the heel. And whenever every surface area of the bottom of the foot has gotten a little squeeze, at least one, let's take it to happy baby. So right hand tries to go to that right foot, the knee swivels open. Foot is too far, slip it down to ankle or shin. So will that hip have the chance to open right here? Three times we'll let this leg try to straighten up to the sky. So let it extend up as much as you can with still maintaining the grip. So it might not be all the way straight, but that's okay. Bend it back down. And straightening up for round number 2, nice and slow. And it's gone as far as it can. Soften the knee. And round number 3. Good. Back to soft. Slide the hands back down to the hug around the knee, like where we started. Pull that one into the chest. 3 times. Let that right knee go into the right hand. Open the knee wide to right. When the knee lifts back up into left hand, you choose how far to twist it over. Good. 2 more cycles like that, all the way open to right. Eventually crossing part way or all the way over to left. And then when you take that third round, we'll stay in the gentle twist. You choose how deep to stay. So maybe you're pausing because of how it feels in a certain part of your body. Maybe you're pausing at a spot where you feel the IT band, or a spot where you feel the hip. Or maybe you're easing into that low back. So make sure you're easing into something really good, really significant for how your body's doing. Take another huge inhale. Nice exhale. Hip returns back to the ground. Slide the right leg all the way long. Left knee comes directly in with that hug. We're trying to hug the knee nice and tightly inward. Let that left foot do a couple of those circles. So when one goes clockwise, the next one goes counter. Back and forth. Good. Extend leg up to sky. Grab on. Hamstring stretch. We'll take a couple of rounds. Try to point the toes as much as possible. And then try to peel the foot back into that flexed shape. Back and forth like that a few rounds. Good. As the knee starts to take the bend shape, both hands are trying to grab onto the bottom of the foot. We're giving the entire surface area of that bottom a nice gentle squeeze, increasing circulation. Breathe. Some of us go a little faster for this, some a little slower. It's all good. If you finish, let's take it to happy baby pose, that half happy baby. Left hand to left foot, or if that's a little too tight, slide the hand down closer to ankle or shin. Let's take our 3 rounds, trying to maintain the grip. Pick the foot as high up to the sky as you can maintain. And softly bend back down. Extension up for 2. And release. One more time, up. And back to half happy baby. When we release the foot, we're clasping hands back around the left knee. Give it a good tug in. Then our 3 cycles, left hand invites the knee open to left. When the knee comes back up, right hand helps it twist in any amount over the body. And take it back open, across. One more cycle. When you head toward the twist on that last round, make sure that you're just in a good spot. So that could be a little bit higher up with the knee, could be a little bit lower. Just a few more breaths. Imagine that breath is passing into the tightest spots. Good, and then when you start to ease out of it, give this leg one more little chance to drop down to the ground. Let your body be in that little mini shavasana, just a couple of breaths, and let your mind come back to how your roots are now. You've only just begun some of the movement for that area, so feel already the extra circulation in that area. Just relaxing, another good inhale, good exhale. And let's take our way up to a seated place. When we're here, we'll do cobbler. So bottoms of the feet come together, let the knees open. And let the spine not be rushed into anything deep. Let gravity just invite it forward any amount. Especially at the last moment, let the weight of the head continue to drop forward. By doing that, I can usually feel the muscles along the entire spine, even to the low back. That gentle tug, that nice stretch. Try to see if you can feel that sensation. So rise back up briefly, the feet will slide a little bit further forward. And from that shape, as we tilt forward, we're bringing ourselves even deeper to that low back area. So from here, we're going to start swaying our torso over toward the right thigh side. So this can look a little different for everybody. Some people might have hands on the floor to help you lean over to the right. Some people might put the left hand on the left knee, straightening that arm to shift us to the right. Either way, just notice those low back muscles on the left side. Big stretch, enjoy a couple of breaths right there. Let's go slowly through center, switching sides. Back through the center, enjoying another 2 breaths. Right there in the spot that teaches our spine where the straight alignment is. Take another huge inhale. Nice exhale. Use your hands to support the back as you lift back up. Take the knees underneath the body. We come down to a kneeling place. Let's start to explore the cat cows. So we'll let our spine round all the way up to sky. Feel those muscles lengthen. And when belly goes down, feel that nice contrast. Now it's the abdominal area. Do good rounds. Take it at the breath pace. So good exhales. Nice slow inhales. Beautiful. Take one more cycle up and down. And what we're going to do from here is start working a little bit more intensely on the feet. The first thing that we're going to do right at this moment is tuck the toes the very best that you can. And we'll start to walk the hands backwards such that we kind of rock our weight onto the balls of the feet, and then come back forward, knees down on the ground. So we're kind of rocking just all around on those toes. Backward and forward. It's a little intense to come clear down to that toe spot. Instead of that portion, yep, just send a little bit of weight backwards, whether this is high kneeling position or low kneeling. Either way, kind of ease into it and back out. I'll take another 3 rounds. 2. 1. Good. From here, planting the hands out in front of us. Let the toes have a couple of little circles. As we make our way to downward facing dog, we're going to give the feet lots of movement on the ground. So tuck the toes again, lift the hips up, and then try to feel like it's the floor massaging your feet. So try to move all around. Some of us will be here a bit longer because we're getting into really good things. Some of us, this is a really intense pose, just to hold for a breath or 2. So at any point that you feel like you need to come up to the top of the mat, and transition forward to a nice forward fold. Some of us sooner, some of us later. Take a nice inhale. Exhale. Our next inhale brings us up to standing. I usually circle my arms to the sides, but if there's another way you like to come up, that's great. And up with the hands at the heart. Good. Let's take the big toes close, still slightly separated. So first we're just gonna go up and down, trying to find balance. This is a spot where we can squeeze inner thighs together to help the balance out a bit. So squeeze everything to the midline. And we try to lift the heels up. And slowly lower heels back down. It's all good if it's like, nope, it needs to come down. Sometimes there's no cycles like that. But yeah, try to keep going a couple of rounds. Up, down. Take another 3. 2. 1. Good. When the heels are back down, sit back like you're about to go into a chair. From that spot, let's try to lift heels back up and down another 5 times. So slowly lift and lower. 4. 3. 2. 1. Straighten the legs, circle arms up to sky. Good inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Exhale, a nice half lift. Spine straightens out of it. Exhale, plant the hands down. Travel the feet back to plank or kneeling plank. Lowering down onto belly. Slide the elbows out wide in front of you like an alligator. Place the forehead down or even side of the head down. But the right knee is going to slide up close to the right shoulder to the side. So what that does is give that low back and that right hip a couple of good breaths. So that nice bridge for the feet. Lots of activity going on in that area right now. Good. Slide this right leg back. Left knee slides forward. If you had your head to one side, maybe flip side, the forehead is down. That's perfectly fine to stay down. Another good inhale. Exhale when the foot slides back. Let both sets of toes tuck the best that they can. And then kind of try to push the ball of the foot into the ground just a little bit. For me, my knees lift. We're trying to push the ball of the foot down. Kind of rocking forward to a gentle toe stretch, not too much. Release to point the toes. Slide the hands right under shoulders. Press back to child pose. These can be as wide as they need to be. Feel the toes in that pointed shape as you start to settle all the way down to that relaxed shape. Good. So walk the hands back in closer. We're going to try to be sitting on our pointed toes, but if that's intense, you can always use a block and that'll help us out. So the idea here is trying to lift our right knee up. So know that if that's like, no way I can do that, the way that you can make it a bit easier is lean as far over to the left as you need to take some weight off of the leg so that you can try to lift it up until the front part of that ankle heel area gets a nice little stretch. Good. Start to lower this one down, shift to the second side. Beautiful. Lowering it down. Let's go back to downward facing dog. If you'd like to add that movement for the toes, this is a beautiful thing to do today. Lots of circulation going on. Similar to before, if just a couple of breaths is pretty intense, make your way to the top of that sooner. It might be later for some. It's all good. Good. So whenever we're in the forward fold, whether we're supporting ourselves with hands on the shin or fingers to floor, let's try a couple of rounds of rocking your weight toward the toes and rocking the weight to the heels. So feel how the muscles of the feet have to shift around to adjust. And then if you'd like a few rounds, rocking left and right. If nothing else, this is almost like a little massage of the feet area. Good. Come back to the center, feeling like you've got all points of the foot pushing equally down. And from that type of groundedness, start to circle arms up to the sky with an inhale. Exhale, hands to heart. Still feel the feet just solid in the earth. So from that, let's take tree pose. We're starting to shift our weight to left leg. Right leg rotates open. Absolutely fine to be a kickstand. It's perfectly fine to work up to ankle or calf. Try just to not push directly on knee. So if you're going higher, work it up to thigh. Good. Continue to feel the foot more than anything else. You can extend the arms up. You can do whatever works. But more than anything else, focus on the foot, trying to just ground down. If there's a lot of wobbliness today, try to add a little bit more calmness. Good. Take another inhale. Exhale right away as right foot works the way to the ground. Let it feel that sensation of spreading. Shift weight onto it. Left leg can rotate open. Lots of space, foot on the ground. Whether you extend arms up doesn't really matter, but think of that foot just trying to spread. Beautiful. So hands come back to the heart if they lifted. When we drop this left foot down, big toes are close again. Toes are slightly separated. From that fierce pose, sitting the hips back. This time just 3 times. Let's try to lift. Keep the inner thigh squeezing. And lower. 2. 1. Good. Heels go down. Right away, the feet are grounded, solid. So from here, we'll take a twist. So it might just be right hand to that left thigh, left hand rotating open. If anybody wants to slide further down to the forearm or the elbow for prayer position twist, you're welcome to. Good. Just You unwind, take the hands to the heart, pull this right knee up. Try to keep your standing foot solid as you kick back warrior 3. Land just the toes for a moment. So a wider stance makes it easier. From the toes there, arms float up to the side. Front heel tries to lift. And lower. Take another 3, 2, 1. Rotate open to warrior 2. So back heel goes down. Arms are expanding open. From here, let's let the front heel lift. 3 and down. 2, 1. Beautiful. Take extended side angle. Front elbow rests down. Top arm stretches forward. Warrior 2. To goddess shape, turn both toes open like a squat. And 3 times from here, try to lift both heels if you can, and lower. Good. 2 and 1. Good. Feel the legs straighten, toes turn forward. You start to release down, wide angle forward. This one gets us into hamstrings, also part of that root system. Take the knees, roll the spine up. The front toes turn forward. The back toes turn in a little bit. You want the hips to be all the way forward for pyramid. So if you're still kind of facing open to the side, shorten your stance a little bit to make it more possible. Hands at the hips to remind you to square hips forward. We'll start to bend forward at the waist. Going down maybe to the thigh. Shin, hands can end up at blocks or floor, but front leg is straight, no matter where we end up. Good. Bend the knees, roll the spine up. As we shift our weight onto your front foot, you can either take the right foot into tree again, or to make it a little more challenging, take that ankle up to the left side and sit back. Your choice in the balance pose. Good. Wherever you're at, one more good inhale. Exhale, up, drop the foot down. Let's really ground the feet before we switch sides. So similar to when we were in the forward fold, let your weight rock forward toward toes and then back to heels, filling all the surface area. Then we'll start to rock left and right a couple of times, feel how the feet have to kind of shift. Almost like a little massage. Good, and then find that spot right in the center, the whole foot pressing solidly down. So in that spot, let's begin to float. Well, take it big toes close, feet solid. Let's sit back in that chair. Let's take it 3 times, heels lift. Heels lower. 2. 1. When heels drop down, their feet are solid again, nice and relaxed. Really great. Take the twist. The left hand to right knee, rotate open. Or perhaps slide a little bit further down. You choose how you can take it. Good. Unwind back up to stand. Focus left knee. Get back warrior 3. Try to land the toes. Remember, wider is easier. Float up to side. Front heel. Let's lift it. 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale, rotate everything over to warrior 2. Front heel 3, 2, 1. Take it to extended side angle, front elbow down, top arm stretching. Back up. Goddess. The toes are at 45-degree angle. We're already squatting down. Last 3 lifts. So 3 and down. 2, 1. Good. Bring hands to the inner parts of the knees. As you lean forward a bit, help to push the thighs open. Really good. So the feet just kind of spread out solid on the ground. Straighten the legs up. Turn the toes forward. Start to relax back down. Bend the knees to roll the spine up. Pivoting the toes to the top of the mat, maybe shortening stance so join with us. Once we're definitely there, start with hands at hips to remind the hips to stay square. Start to bend at the waist, go forward. Drop hands down maybe to thigh or shin, block or floor. More breath in and out. Spine start to rise up. We shift our weight onto front foot. That left one either comes right into tree or that last balance, ankle to thigh, figure 4. Another good inhale. Exhale. Drop down. Feet already super solid, just spreading wide on the ground. From here, inhale, circle arms up to sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fingers drop down. Travel back, your choice, child pose, down dog, or a little flow. Good. So we'll go to a pigeon pose, getting into that hip for a moment. So this can either be done from down dog or from kneeling, but you'll end up with right leg under and through. Make sure sacrum stays level and lower down toward elbows. You can always put a block under the hip if that feels useful. It's getting good lubrication. Some of these last things that we'll do in these last couple of minutes, if you imagine the intense area is getting flooded with all sorts of goodies. So like right now, it's the hip getting flooded. Imagine it's like suddenly open to omegas and open to nutrients and open to flow of that nice fluid in the joint, that lubrication. All of a sudden, there's more space in that area. So take 2 more breaths right here. That second breath, let's come up either to kneeling or to down dog, essentially a nice recovery moment. Give your hips some wiggles, some movements, just easing some of the tightness out before we switch sides. Switching to left leg whenever you feel ready. So similar to before, you're eventually in the pose. If it's nothing else but mental absolutely counts because the mind will start to change what we experience in the body. So if nothing else, just imagine it's like flooding this hip with all sorts of goodies that it needs. It's kind of like the root system of a plant. That root system is partially there to accept nutrients from the earth and bring them up. So imagine it's like our hips. Even if they've never been able to do that much for us before, imagine at least right now, they're a little bit more open to receive those nutrients. Another good inhale. Nice exhale. Up to hands. Shift back, kneeling or down dog. Just give some nice space for the hips, wiggles, just good things. Good. We're going to take a stretch that lets our knees go to kind of the most flexion that it can take. So some of us might already just put a block in between our feet, even letting the knees go wide to make it easy. So those are options that'll make it much more gentle if knees, they tend to have issues. So if that's the case, you'll just come back to sit in between it. If your knees are doing pretty good, you'll have knees close, feet slightly separated. Grabbing the calves, rotate the calves out. Try to just come to sit right here in the middle. Try to keep the spine upright, even maybe fingers behind you if that helps your spine be more lifted. The idea here, more than anything else, is letting the knees, imagine just like the hips were a moment ago, imagine the knees have that space. Yep, so if you need a little bit of weight forward, that will absolutely bring less pressure to the knees. Keep it at as much height as you need for the knees to still be comfortable. There's a difference between pain and deep sensation. Make sure it's never actually pain. Let's take 3 more breaths for the knees. Whenever you finish that 3rd breath, shift your weight back forward. Letting the hips have a couple of flags left to right. The last stretch before we come down to a seated place will be a toe stretch. So try to see if all 10 toes can touch. You'll start to shift some of your weight back. If it's already really intense for the posture of the feet, just stay with the weight forward like this. If you can start to take more and more weight back, you could go all the way to the maximum, which would be sitting upright, letting the feet just stretch. So imagine, same thing we've been imagining last couple of stretches. Imagine The fascia is accepting nutrients that have previously been blocked. Won't be here too long. This one I know it's pretty intense. Gotta go 3 more breaths. Good. As you finish the 3rd breath, come back to kneel. Start to pound the feet, just add some good counter stretch to those feet. And when that feels pretty good, let's work our way down to a comfortable seated place. You can always sit on a blanket or block if you'd like. If you have socks or anything blocking your feet, go ahead and take them off, at least for the next pose. You can always put them back on right afterward. We're going to try to put the right foot on top of the left so that we have access to this foot. But if you need to just have it in front or floating up, whatever you need to do to have access to right foot for a moment, go ahead and grab it. What we're going to do with that right foot is try to shove the left fingers in between the toe spaces. Try to get it in as much as you can. Sometimes you'll notice one foot will be very different than the other foot, so just do the best that this one will do. Then once you've got that in place, what your fingers are going to do is fingers try to spread out as much as they can muscularly. This creates lots of space for the foot. That a couple of good breaths. And then with the fingers, let them start to relax. And now that we're doing the opposite, the toes try to squeeze in. Just 2 or 3 breaths right there. Good. And relax from that. Now let the hands manipulate the foot. So this could be pointing and flexing. This could be doing whole circles for the ankle. This could be waving it left and right. Just let the hand help the foot out for a moment. Good. And whenever you're ready to release the hand, feel that space, that kind of circulation in the foot. Either leave it in shin stack or drop it to cross leg. We're going to find the hands on the floor in front of us, walking forward. A couple of breaths into the hips and low back, all those goodies. Good. And come back up. Let your legs start to switch. So we're trying to gain access to left foot. Whenever you've got it in that spot that will work for you, start working right fingers into the left toes. Best that you can. Sometimes this one's the one that's like, oh, I don't know about this. But if you're not quite there, keep on working on it, but eventually fingers spread out muscularly. Relax fingers, toes, squeeze in muscularly. You relax. The hand manipulates the foot in ways that feel good for the foot, the ankle. This could be flexion, circles. Get a couple of breaths. Even if it feels like an intense squeeze on the toes, I'll feel that release in just a moment. So whenever you're there, either leave it shin stack, drop it down to cross leg, your choice. Find the floor, knees firm. Part of why that's so intense sometimes is because that includes some acupressure points. So really good spot that might be telling us about the rest of the body. Another good inhale. Next exhale. So you ease back up, releasing. We're starting to head toward our Shavasana shape. So if there's any last poses your body wants, go ahead and explore those. One optional Shavasana shape for your body today would be legs up the wall so that the feet get that chance to just drain lymph, drain blood, all sorts of goodies like that. But any other Shavasana that just feels good is also welcome. Displaying like how we started or whatever. So take your time exploring your journey toward whatever shape will feel good. Whenever you get toward your Shavasana sooner or later, let some really good, deep, relaxing breaths flow through your system, especially imagining our breath helping us to not only tune into how the feet are doing, but also the breath sending nutrients, sending flow, sending freshness. It's very low parts of the roots that are lifted right now. Here we'll begin to deepen our inhales, our exhales. Start to introduce little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching in ways that feel good for our body. Perhaps eventually taking a nice fetal position when it feels comfortable and natural for you. And join a few bonus breaths. We're settling back into this time, this space. Maybe 3 or 4 more good cycles of breath until you feel ready to rise sooner or later. Rise up. Join our hands together in front of our heart. And bring our awareness back into the feet, ankles, knees, the legs, the hips, the low back, all these root parts of our body. And imagine how our root structure maybe has shifted over this hour. Maybe it's a lot stronger, maybe it goes a lot deeper. So with these solid roots to help us feel grounded, help us feel stable, to help us accept the nutrients we need out of life, with these roots to lead us on, let's wrap up the time we shared together today with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste. Namaste.